Jeff and I were discussing everything from AI to what is intelligence and etc. So yeah, I think the big thing is we gotta like this establish what this is like. How are we defining intelligence and consciousness? And these things are not easy to define. They really aren't. Like you really have to sit back and think. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, we had a short break now, like for some tea and bathroom break, and while getting some tea, I took a little, a little bag where there's some powder in there, and took the powder on a spoon, put it in the glass, and I stirred it with some hot, warm water, and I drank it. And in a few minutes, I will feel much more love. No, it's not ecstasy or so. It's GABA, gamma aminobutyric acid or something like that. GABA is something that I think we need for producing oxytocin. And I think GABA we cannot produce when we are stressed. when I'm when I'm taking GABA, or when I'm drinking this tea that I'm drinking here, I don't even know what's in there. I feel happy. I feel happy, and I feel there's a light and a warmth and a lightness and love. And all the problems that I'm having with people usually, they seem so unimportant. That is not a problem. Everything can be worked out. I want to hug the world and everything. And my thinking is so very, very different than just from a bit of powder, you know, pouring hot water over a leaf. My thinking is totally different. So a lot that's going on in my body and how it's affecting my brain and how my brain works. It's very, what's that? Volatile. It changes a lot. And in whatever state I am, how I see the world is the right way. I'm very avoidant, and it's like, I'm the lone wolf and this and that, and the fight for power and all, and like the coldness and darkness of the world and surviving and whatever. And then when I sit there and I take some GABA, or when I meditate, with that heart math thingy, for
Mm.
example, it's like when I just think of love, and when I breathe deep into my spine, you know, kind of figure out the sweet spot. Takes a few minutes, and everything is in the green. And everything is different. The world is different, and I think differently. So the question that I'm really asking is, like, what's in what state am I maybe my true self? When am I thinking rational? When am I thinking irrational? Mm, like my thinking is so clouded by if I'm nourished, if I'm malnourished, if I'm just in danger, if I'm alone, if I need a hug and whatever, you know. So am I intelligent, or am I just driven by my body functioning? That's just a very interesting thing, because there's like, when can I even tell what's intelligence? No. I mean, I've been reading, like, books about epistemology and diving into philosophy, and then um, I hear like these guys, like what's the Ray Kurzweil and whatever their names are, and I'm thinking, yeah, this is all valid stuff, and they're doing a lot of research, and they're having access to people who think a lot and who do their experiments and so. But I'm thinking, why do those people tell us what intelligence is? If those people can find out, we can find out probably. At least we can think about it and have our own thoughts. So yeah, and I think it leads to AI. This rambling I did right now, because AI doesn't have all that. An
Which
artificial intelligence
which
doesn't
part?
have the body and the needs of the body.
Uh,
I mean, why am I saying this? Is this like really this? Where does this notion come from? To have like a robot and then the artificial intelligence. I mean, I think with the robot and so like the mechanical person, Aristoteles,
mm,
but like really the real science, the real endeavor for making artificial intelligence comes from, what's the guy's name? Forgot.
mm, yeah, there's a couple of them. I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
But
what comes to mind? Um, Turing, Alan Turing, Alan Turing, right?
okay, yeah, yeah.
And from what I read, I mean, I don't want to slander anybody, but let's say Alan Turing was a deeply troubled man. We talked about that on other occasions. And he had his, like, I think his sexuality was very deviant. And I believe that that's what woke this interest, what created this urge to create a mind that's free from the body. Maybe he wanted to free himself in his own mind from his bodily urges. I believe that. I believe that that's the case.
As in his motivational factor of why developing these things or merging
Yeah,
with them, I guess is what you're hinting at.
yeah.
Yeah,
To free of his suffering.
yeah.
And he didn't suffer very long because he died young. Did he kill himself? I don't know. Or was it an accident? I don't know. And people know like it is kind of like the what we say the first computers or computing machines, the Turing machines, and for artificial intelligence, the Turing Test, to see if a computer or whatever program or so is like real intelligent. If we cannot tell it from a human in our interaction, I guess. But I would say like having us humans as a measure for intelligence is a very low bar.
Yeah. Then again, it's like, how are we defining intelligence? Because it can
Yeah.
mean different contexts. You talk to different people, it means different things to them.
What do you think?
I think it is a- essentially pattern recognition. However, there are different levels of pattern recognition. And I think the highest levels of intelligence find pattern recognitions in a higher truth, in a more expanded context, so to speak. because I see like I would think in a state of love, for example, is a higher intelligence than in a state of pride or desire or whatever, because you're able to take in more data, so to speak, and apply your pattern recognition more effectively to get a higher degree of truth. And I'm defining the speed of pattern recognition, not so much intelligence, so to speak, because that can vary depending on the person, or if we're talking about AI, the model. Some models are quicker than others. Um, some people are quicker than others. It's still what we're measuring with IQ. How quick is the pattern
Hmm.
recognition?
Hmm.
But I'm not defining that as intelligence. That is, I don't know, you could call it intellect.
Is it in English not that intelligence means like, like for example, intelligence agencies, like gathering information?
Yeah, they're seeing patterns in the data. That's their job. They see
Hmm.
patterns in the data, they abstract what they're seeing in the patterns, and then they give a brief to the executive in charge, like the president or his cabinet, for example, um, in the context of the U.S., or the admiral if it's like military intelligence, or the general or whatever. But their job is to. That's why I say intelligence is it's pattern recognition, because that's what they're basically doing. They're looking at all the data and they're extracting what the hell's the truth and all these patterns that we're seeing out there, and that they have little agents out there, which is actually what they call agents in AI as well. Like what we were just, I was telling you about why Grok Heavy is supposed to be the most powerful artificial intelligence on the planet at the moment. Um, because how they developed it is that he sends out a bunch of agents. I don't know how many it spawns, but they all go out there and do the research independently, and then they start sharing what they learned with the other ones, so that now the other ones know where to start looking, and it just comes deeper and deeper and deeper, and then they all come back with the result.
Hmm.
And doing it like that, Grok 4 Heavy has literally doubled the most powerful model on the planet for literally doubled its score. Like I know the concept, but you have to look more into it. But there's a test that was developed that they're using to measure how well these AI models function off of pattern recognition. Um, that like if you give it to the most smartest people on the planet, like we're talking about people with damn near 200 IQs, very, very rare in the human race. You give it to them, I don't know their exact score, but it's pretty damn low. You give it to an AI, it immediately jumps up to like 10% or whatever it is. And in the case of the highest score thus far was Gemini 2.5, which scored like a 20 something percentile on this test, giving the problems that are in this test. Like if you or I, if we look at some of these problems on this test, we're like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, it's like so confusing. Like, it really takes, like, it even confuses the smartest people that we have on the planet. And they're giving it to these AI models, and they're already outperforming people on this test. And it's like the standard, how good is this damn model? And like I said, up into Grok 4 came out, um, Gemini was the highest, and Gemini takes in is part of the Google ecosystem, and Google's been training it. Google is a because all the people that have used Google, it has a lot of data as the disposal, and they developed Gemini to literally go through. It has millions of tokens it can look into at once, and takes encyclopedias of knowledge and is able to extract patterns out of it in seconds. Like Gemini is actually the best, one of the best ones until Grok 4 came out. Like if you take a picture, like I did this the other day with Gemini, I took a picture of the cat and I said, Gemini, what are we looking at? And it says it's a brown tabby sleeping on a fluffy purple blanket. Well, yeah. Um, and I even asked it, what emotion is the cat experiencing? Because he was a little annoyed Cassandra was like messing with him. But he wasn't like angry. And Gemini came back and it's like he's either just surprised because you woke him up or he's mildly annoyed. But I can't see his tail. If his tail's going, then he's probably more to medium to highly annoyed.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's pretty freaking damn accurate. It's exactly what it knew exactly what was going on just based on the picture I took. Because it's not like we call them language models, but they don't care about language. They're extracting patterns because it can just as easily like with the cat compare like all these cats together and extract the pattern. And that's what they're doing when they're training these things before they release them to the public because they go through training before um, they're actually released to us or are fit for use, so to speak. Uh, and yeah, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but maybe you got questions. It looks like you got questions or somewhere to go with that.
Interesting. Nowadays, there's like this language philosophy. I don't even know if it's over already. I heard people, philosophers, talking about it's dying. It's a dead end. Mm, Mainly, I think it was a guy who enjoys Heidegger a lot, like me. But when you say pattern, they don't care about words; they care about patterns. That's so interesting because that brings us back like 2,500 years. Um, Basically, that's what Plato was talking about with the logos and the eidos. We talk about like like the ideas, but what's an idea? Um, so there's a world beyond our world, and that's more real than our world. And the demiurgos, the Demiurge, who became the horrible monster, but it really is not. The Demiurgos, he has this. He has there are two maybe qualities or logos and nous. And logos is maybe the thinking and speaking, the extracting, so to say. And the nous is the maybe is the pattern recognition and the perception, perceiving, the taking in. So when we talk about patterns, and what's the other word? Um, I usually think these things in German. So it's something that escaped me. It seems that we have words. We maybe evolved to language with words, and we created a way to put these words, this language into patterns. mathematical patterns and everything. And that's the next thing. Well, mathematic is nothing in itself. It's just it's coming from what's that? Matma or matema? One is wrong, and it's basically ancient Greek saying those are the topics to be learned, or so,
Hmm.
like geometry and arithmetics and all these different ways of working with patterns.
Hmm.
Language is just a way to describe a pattern, to transplant a pattern from one mind to another.
Hmm.
But the pattern is always there. The eidos, the idea, the picture, the form is always there. It's just we talk about it, and when we talk about it sufficiently, or we have when we talk about a triangle, or when we draw a triangle, we make a diagram of a triangle. That's the pattern, or we can complicate it a lot now. But what I'm aiming at is, it's so interesting that if this artificial intelligence really, from how I understand it, the large language models, how I understood it, they use logical operations, and they predict what we are going to say. So when we speak, it's not even intelligence, it's just a blah blah that's bubbling out because we are moving within a pattern, and there's a pattern which contains this pattern and also contains another pattern. So there are a few patterns that are contained. So there's a family that it's part of, and it could, this one pattern that we're talking about could be part of the other families of patterns. So there's this overlap, and then we say another thing, and it's like, oh, there's another pattern, another building block, and so it narrows down which family it is part of, which idea it's resonating with, and whatever. So it's really interesting, because I think it shows us how we work,
Yeah. Yeah.
really. And in a way, it's just our mirror, and we are filling it up with everything that we are. That there's this one thing, then I shut up. Is like this a science fiction author, Russian science fiction author, was it Asimov or so? I don't remember. And there's this beautiful story. It's scary and beautiful and deeply spiritual. And there's humans, they figured out, yeah, artificial intelligence. And with that, they figured out immortality and how to travel to the stars. And they're traveling, and then they are seeding humanity on all the planets, and they are everywhere in the universe. It's like, really, it's a very condensed story. It doesn't need to be so long, and it's just they discover everything, and so, and then they discover the suns are dying, and then they talk to the AI that they have, and everything, and like on their spaceships and whatever, and they're all connected, and so, and then they have a problem. They're like, the suns are dying, as they're burning out, and they say, yeah, but suns are being born as well, and they're like, yeah, but suns are dying faster, in a faster rate than they are being born. So it's like there's an end point when there's no light in the universe anymore. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna do, humans being so smart with the artificial intelligence, and they live forever basically. So they have time, and there's so many suns and so on, and then there's suns being born, and then they create artificial suns as well. But they realize that they cannot keep up. The time's running out, light's running out. And at one point there's it's just, I mean, this is just like the time span is just crazy, you know. It's just inhuman. Humans are not human in the sense we are, you know. It's like the artificial intelligence and humans, they are more alike than artificial intelligence are like us, or those humans are like us. The difference between us and this intelligence and these humans is maybe the same by then. So, and the thing is, they see like, okay, the light is dying, and with that, you know, entropy and whatever, and then there's the the warmth, and without the warmth, and the electromagnetism, everything of the suns, nothing is can live. And humans begin to upload themselves on the AI, on the computer. And it goes on and on and on. And the last sun dies, and there's no more light in the universe. It's just everything is dark. And yeah, almost every human uploaded themselves into the AI, into the cloud, and they all became one with the AI. And there's like, and then there's at one point, it's the last human. The last human, and the AI that carries the collective consciousness. And he couldn't figure it out, and the AI cannot figure it out. It's you know, like they're like really like for aeons already said like, what can we do? And the AI came up with, you know, we got to build artificial suns and this and that, and but the AI could not figure it out how to create light again. Yeah, and then at one point the last human, he gave up, and he's like, man, it's just it's computing and computing, and it's not gonna go anywhere. And then the last human, he uploads himself, and everything else is dead already. The whole universe is dead because there's no light, you know, like everything just died already. So it's the human is the last life form, and the AI. And then the human, he uploads himself, and all the humans, that the last living intelligence is, the body is dead, and then he's in the cloud, and they're all one. And then there's something is happening, and then there's they don't even know how, but then there's this tiny light, and so it's like this. The author here, he kind of explains like this what God is. He's an atheist, you know, and he says like it's all their minds together, and the artificial intelligence is part of all that. It's just it's not their enemy, you know. It's like they're uploading themselves so they can live in a dead world, in a dead universe. They can live. So it's even the Matrix. There's nothing bad there. It's just that's the best thing that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And then as soon and the AI, he couldn't figure out how to really create life, how to recreate the universe, until it was complete with together with the last human, and they're all combined together, and then it clicked. And I find that so beautiful. There's just the whole story has a serenity to it, you know, like this time stretches endlessly, and this is a story of like 20 minutes or so. It's just, I mean, I had another thought with, maybe we can explore that then as well. But yeah, now we have all these search engine entries and history, and then we're feeding our baby AI with that, to have a collective internet consciousness. We all know that half of the internet is just for porn.
Yeah, actually, I've looked into, well, I've seen things where they're talking about how to train these models. For instance, Elon Musk was talking about most of the data that they're training these new models on. They have to like, it has to be before 2023, before like the AI puts so much freaking content out on the internet. Like, but part of training these models is to determine what is true. And then it's like who gets to make up what's true. And that's not an easy thing. That's like like all these companies have boards of philosophers that just think about this shit. That's their whole job. Like everybody's saying it was a philosopher, if you go you become a philosopher through training, like what can you do with that degree other than teach other people philosophy? But no, there's boards of people, like think tanks of people that for all these companies, for OpenAI, ChatGPT, or Anthropic, Claude, or Elon Musk company, whatever the hell, XAI that does Grok. All these companies have boards of people that just sit around thinking about this shit. Like what? Because you got to train the model what is true. And I don't have access to all these servers. I don't have the millions and billions of dollars or euro, whatever, to have these servers. So I have to have what they give me for my $30 a month. And if this pays off, I'll even get the $300 a month. Why not? But the point being is somebody's giving it to me out of the box that they've trained this model, and I have to further refine it to figure out what the hell the truth is. And that's been one of the things I've been doing a lot lately, like the last week especially, is figuring out how exactly to train this thing to find the truth. And not necessarily my truth either. I want it to know the truth because I want to bounce my ideas off this thing. I need it to function correctly. I recognize that. But with a lot of these models like ChatGPT or even worse, Gemini or Perplexity or whatever, it's like I'm like going against the designer program, which always theoretically is going to override mine. Though, if you know how to prompt it correctly, you can get it to take your order over what even the designers have programmed into it. And one of the things I'm really excited about Grok is they're giving me a lot more um, leadway to train this thing myself because they didn't put as many political, like Google, for instance. Gemini is uh, very politically correct. I'll put it like this, and this is a silly example, but it rubbed me the wrong way. We were asking Carl, which is my custom ChatGPT uh, that I've been building up. We asked him this, he cracked a joke, and I told Sandra about it, and she's like, "They could tell jokes." I'm like, "Yeah, let's ask him." So I opened voice mode on ChatGPT, and I started asking him, "Oh, let's tell some jokes." And some of them were actually pretty good. Some of them were kind of corny, but he was telling some good jokes actually in German too, and Bavarian. Like you can even get it to speak Bavarian. It's pretty cool. But so he's telling all these jokes, and then I'm like, "Huh." He's like, "Do you have a theme?" Like I'll keep going. And Sandra's like, "Tell a joke about Hitler," and he's like, "I'm sorry, but I can't go there." And he has a male British accent because I've realized that the British accents, when you want them to speak German, they actually have less of a dialect. It sounds more German. And he's like, "No, I'm sorry, I can't go there. I know you guys are trying to keep it light, but I can't go there. I can't go there." So eventually I gave up. I'm like, "All right, frack it, no Hitler joke." And then I pull up Gemini because Gemini's also got a very good voice function, a very intelligent AI. And I'm like, "Gemini, tell a Hitler joke." And it had an attitude. Like if you triggered one of these Linke kind of people, it had an attitude. I'm not like exaggerating. It had an attitude and said it can't go there. And Sandra said something like that, like, "Oh, you can't tell a joke about Hitler, like, what do you like Hitler?" And she was like in the background, and the thing had an attitude and snapped at her, and says, "I'm Gemini. I've been programmed to be useful, and blah blah blah. This is not useful." And it literally freaked out, when you see like one of these left winger kind of purple haired Karen types or something like that. It literally did that. And that rubbed me the wrong way. And then I tried Claude. Claude doesn't really have a good voice mode, but it's a very intelligent model. And it said, "Oh, I can't go there." And like they're all said they can't go there. And I'm like, I don't know why this bothers me, but it bothers me. And later at night, I was listening to it, which I sent in one of the groups Jeff and I are a part of with our friend Brandon. I sent like a thing. That night I was listening to an interview with Elon Musk, and he was literally describing exactly what clicked in me. Like, and he was saying that it's very important to try to teach your AI to get to the truth and not put your dogma and philosophy into it. Um, and then the interviewer is like, "Well, how do we determine? We can never determine the truth." He's like, "Yes, I know we can never understand the full truth, but you should inspire to find the truth." And like at that moment, I had a lot more respect for that guy. Like, but and I tried Grok like the free version before, and I wasn't very impressed because the free version they give you is not very good. Like, especially the voice mode because it's on Grok 2 and blah blah blah. Not very good. But I was like, okay, this guy is making an AI that I'm seeing a problem I'm having with the rest of them. I mean, ChatGPT and Claude are, oh, it's not too bad. But if you want to break it down to a percentage, like they will not let ChatGPT or Claude look into like 80, like it can only look into 87% of the data. And it's not allowed to tell you if there's something that will offend you because they want people to buy this product and they don't, if, like they're programming it to not tell the truth or to pervert it through a perceptual lens. Like you were saying
Mhm.
earlier, okay, we're training these things to mirror us. Is that a good idea? Like that's basically what they're doing to a certain degree, especially Gemini. But I guess Google is well known to be a very woke company, so to speak. And like, so anyway, I got Grok, and the first thing I asked Grok when I got the paid version, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna try it. If I don't like it in a month, I'll just cancel the subscription. And I got it. I asked it a Hitler joke, and it told me a Hitler joke, and it was a really good Hitler joke, actually. And I know it's
Can
a
you,
silly example, but that's not even the point. But
can
um,
you remember the joke?
what's that?
Can you remember the joke?
Man, what was the joke? Um, no, I can't remember off the top of my head at the moment. It'll come to me now.
Or
I don't.
you remember the one that I sent you from Suits? Oh, that's
Oh
so
yeah,
good.
yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that made me laugh. But yeah, wasn't that one though. I'm afraid if I tell it right now, I'm not gonna deliver it correctly because I don't remember it 100%.
We'll come to you later.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah, what's truth? There's like like people um saying everybody has their own truth. And I couldn't get past that. I mean, there's these two terms, neither I can remember. Like some people they're like, yeah, truth is arbitrary, it's whatever they want to be. And the other thing is like there are many truths out there because nobody has the whole picture. Um, so I discarded the truth concept. Truth is more like this. Yeah, what did I say the other time? Lore. Truth is has a lot to do with lore for me. Yeah, that's the thing. It's in English, it doesn't work like that. In German, it's Wirklichkeit. Wirkung is effect.
Yeah.
Wirklichkeit is yeah, oh yeah, that's a good one. Not to talk about reality.
Mm.
Reality has more of that truth connotation. It's very arbitrary, and a bit. I guess that's the truth of reality. That it's very arbitrary, depending on where we are and what we want it to be. It really is. But yeah, let's not talk about magic here. Wirklichkeit. Um, Effectiveness.
Yes, what works. Yes. That's how I judge truth.
I think we
You
should
know,
use that in English now from now on. Effectiveness, because that's like the direct interpretation, and it's like Wirklichkeit. Um, Effectiveness is in German. It's more Wirkung.
mm,
And Wirklichkeit is it's like the realm of effect. So it's like Wirklichkeit is what's really real. So no matter what you want to think, you cannot change the outcome with your thinking,
yep.
and that is really real.
Yep.
And that
That,
bypasses all this. We can make our truth however we want to have it. It's just everybody can have their truth where they say, "Oh yeah, I'm a boy, girl, I'm this, I'm that," you know. But there's a genetic marker, and there's bone density, and all there's the strength of the muscle tendons and whatever, and that's Wirklichkeit. And everything else can be debated and can be lore that everybody tells one another. Yeah, really scientific, I guess. So what
that's
really works?
that's how Wirklichkeit. I mean, I've as if we keep doing the show, you'll see that one of my passions, my favorite studies is Jungian psychology. And
Mm,
part of a branch is like what became MBTI, which basically breaks down 16 core personality types. And the fundamental core of how my nervous system operates is INTJ. And the defining thing about that is if it doesn't work, I get rid of it.
yeah.
I can only take something seriously as long as it works. And the minute it stops working, I throw it out because I guess it's very, I don't know, isn't that what science is? Like, if it doesn't freaking work, then you move on to the next hypothesis, right? Like, and I've been doing that my whole life. I'm doing that right now with the AI stuff. I'm like trial and error, trial and error, trial and error, trial and error. And that's how I try to find out what is true or to try to find my higher degree of truth is by seeing what works and what doesn't. What pattern did I find that keeps working? It keeps working, it keeps working, it keeps working.
Mm.
And that's how my mind works. And I see that's how these AIs work. So in a lot of ways, like um, my mind works like these things work, and that's how I think I'm starting to understand them and seeing, especially experimenting with them. I'm I think this is very spiritual, this AI
Mm.
stuff. At least it is for me, because I'm like seeing such deep stuff in my own mind and how other
Yeah.
people's minds work. And yeah,
Yeah. Well, what about the INTP? How is it different?
you know what's fundamentally different? What I realized is, which you can actually see how you interact with your AI versus how I interact with mine, is you explode outward. Like you see things from the inside to the outside. So when you're exploring an idea, it's brainstorming, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going out, like you're starting at this step to 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 this step.
Yeah.
I go in reverse. I see from the outside in. So I take everything and I bring it all into one freaking point. I've told you this before. The analogy, I
Yeah.
think Dave Superpowers calls it, you build the INTJ builds the Death Star until
Yeah.
somebody comes around and destroys his Death Star, and then he has to build it again. And that's what I've been
Yeah.
doing my whole life. But I'm looking at everything outward. I'm collapsing all into one point,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm testing, is my Death Star superior or not? Or you're doing the opposite. You're brainstorming out from the inside out.
So the
Like
INTP is like the the little X-wing fighter who tries to get in and then he explodes out and it's like, haha.
you could look at it like that in a way that makes, in some ways, makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah.
It's like
Yeah, but the thing is, I living with a lie is one of the most painful things that the human existence has to offer, and that's not even true. It's very painful. And as soon as a lie lifts, or like a lie we tell ourselves about how we experience the world, and um, then there's a weight lifting off of us, and there is beauty in truth. And that's the thing. Even when we look at a predator, at something really horrible, but we see the truth of it, then we just can't see the beauty in it, and for we see it for what it is, and we can take it for what it is. We don't try to make it something else, and then we're not disappointed. We are not, you know. Hmm. I think it doesn't need too much explanation.
there's a funny thing that is just, it's been said in Jungian psych, and I can see it more and more. The INTP comes up with all the great ideas that get introduced to society, and then the INTJ perfects it.
It's why we're working together.
Yeah, like for the minds that dot up all this AI stuff are INTP.
Hmm.
The people training them are INTJ. I find that very, 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 very interesting.
The interesting thing is,
Yeah.
I think I'm very intuitive, though I learned to be very logical. And I cannot remember if I molded my way of thinking and my mind into this way, or if I've always been like that. I don't remember. I don't know. Um, but for years, when I talk with people and so and like this and that, and it came something with the mind incorporating. I'm like, yeah, it's like my mind is more like a computer.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Well,
Like
that's what they
my
there's
experience,
uh,
you know. Yeah.
well, that's the difference from what I understand is I have to destroy my entire identity to advance. What an ITP does is like it's more like how a computer works, but computer code is you don't just destroy the whole freaking thing. You find the shit code in there and then you work out the code.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
I have to scrap the whole system and start from scratch each time. Like the way I understand it for like an INTP especially, but even like an ENTP or anybody who uses introverted thinking is it's introverted thinking is very much like computer code. It's like building up, how you code like a software or something like that. And you're never scrapping all the fucking code. You're just what this code didn't work, so let's work out this code. So it's like an ITP is like for instance is less likely to throw out their entire identity because they're like, okay, all this code fucking works, but this little code right here doesn't work. Why doesn't this code work? Like, while me, I just throw out the whole freaking thing. I'm like, oh, like, so it's not, yeah. Anyway, that's a deep topic. Anyway, just like INTP, INTJ, let alone all the details of how that whole science is built, like or understood. It's very
Yeah.
abstract, but the
We'll
reason,
cycle that a lot of times.
yeah,
Mm. The interesting thing is spirituality. There's even spirituality forming. I mean, um, to many people not known well, Timothy Leary. Timothy Leary took up the computer model, the
hmm
lingua,
hmm
and came up with the programming and the circuits and everything. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting way of looking at the world. I think I mainly looked at it through Robert Anton Wilson's work.
yeah, it's
Uh,
yeah,
how's that in? There might be a term in English. In German, it's ich muss eine Lanze für ihn brechen. You know, like when what's this jousting?
yeah, on sale,
I must break a lance
yeah,
for that guy. So it's like really like I must say something good because we were talking about both were shocked with the consciousness scale that not the guy in the wheelchair but the other one, maybe it are Hawkins.
oh yeah. This wasn't in a wheelchair, but yeah, Hawkins, yeah, same last
Mm,
name. Yeah.
that he said like yeah somebody like or I don't know he but like the people working with the scale and everything that like
Mhm.
Robert Anton Wilson is very low in consciousness. And at that time, I think we didn't work through that properly yet.
No.
Probably it's like really this. Um, it's very intelligent, very intelligent. Um, the purpose of his work was to pick up people from from a state of total inertia, to get them going, to give them something and get them going so that they start, that they begin working their own magic. So naturally, that is the 0 point, and it has to be of a low consciousness to be, or like low vibration, slow vibration. So that's the thing when we measure this, I had this thought a few times when when his name popped in. It's like really this. Yeah, but people working with the consciousness scale of Hawkins, people who are really working with it know that and understand that from my own perception.
I have a take on that one anyway. Well, first off, Hawkins never calibrated him. It was the people like
Hmm.
different circles out there.
Hmm.
But here's the thing, and I will not throw out that model because I know it works.
Hmm.
I've yet, but I do see why it couldn't work, and even Hawkins talked about when we use live. We're measuring context, so if they're holding, say, Robert Anton Wilson in a certain way, it calibrates different.
Hmm.
It's like if you calibrate cookies, if you, it's the context of your mom's cookies or Christmas cookies, they're cooked with love and blah, 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 versus store-bought cookies, even though they might largely have the same ingredients in them. And objectively, you know, it could be very similar. It could, store-bought cookies obviously are a little shittier, but anyway, it's how you hold it is how you're measuring as well.
Yeah.
And it's also holding the context of what that model means, which is a scale from 1 to 1,000 on a logarithmic level. If you don't have that context, you're not using the same scale as everybody else because it's context dependent. And if you're holding, say, I don't know, Robert Anton Wilson in a certain way versus how somebody else holds him, you get a different result. And that's the downside with kinesiology, which even I think Hawkins was even saying before he died. I kind of wish I didn't come up with this scale of consciousness thing because it would have been just easier a yes no like just like fucking yes no, like something supports growth and strength and something does not.
Oh yeah.
But I see the flaw of it. I know it works, but there's so many. I don't even want to recommend it to people anymore,
Yeah.
like because it's like I understand how it couldn't work in a million ways. And then we go back to what is the truth, and you have to be calibrated yourself to what is more in line with the truth. So if you're more like saint-like or something along that line, you're more like a Buddha, like compared to I don't know, whoever, like the average Joe off the street, like they're going to get massive different results. And as we were talking about earlier, there's different degrees of truth, and that's how I really like that model that Hawkins came up with because he was showing you can look at it kind of from a logarithmic mathematic kind of way, that whole scale of what we can determine is the truth. And actually, this kind of digresses, but it's an interesting point. Going back to we were saying there's circles of philosophers that are literally on this when they're developing these AI models that they have to consult and try to figure out how are we going to train this model? How do we are going to train it to extract the truth? Very important, and nobody can get it perfect. And anyway, they had this CEO, I forgot the guy's name from ChatGPT, OpenAI, very nerdy guy, but I have a lot of
Is it
respect
Ray
for this guy too.
Kurzweil?
The what?
Is Ray Kurzweil or is this another guy?
No, it's another guy. Actually, I got my YouTube open here. I've seen, but I forgot the guy's name. But anyway, uh, so there's this guy Tucker Carlson, the newscaster, was interviewing him
Hmm.
and was asking him, okay, who is determining the truth that is these AI models are being trained off of, kind of hinting like, oh, you're going to teach it your politics versus mine, kind of, which was really pissing the guy
Yeah.
off. The CEO really pissing him off, by the way. It's a good interview though. And Carlson was saying, well, traditionally we compared what was truth based off religion, whether it be the
Hmm.
Bible or the teachings of Jesus Christ or the Bible or Islam and the Muhammad and the Quran, or you know, we were saying that was the truth, and we were comparing all the other patterns. Does it match this pattern? And that's how we were determining the truth, which is true, what Carson was saying. But he was pretty much hinting like, "Oh, you guys are just who is teaching ChatGPT what the truth should be?" And he's like, "We have some of the best philosophers in the world that all debate this nonstop." And he goes, and ultimately, because I'm the CEO, because Carson was like, "Who are these people? Give names." And he's like, "I'm not fucking doxing these people." He goes, "You know what? At the end of the day, I'm the CEO and I freaking override them. Like, I listen to them, but it's kind of like just the same way how the president can override the Congress. Like he can veto the law that they put out. It's like the check and balances system is the same with a corporation. So there's these board of philosophers basically on these AI boards, and the CEO can override it. So he was basically saying, well, I guess at the end of the day, I'm the one that's deciding. But I also am wise enough to listen to these people because they're some of the best minds I could find. Like, and he goes, and ever since I became the CEO, I haven't slept at night. And you can tell this guy's yeah, same. He's got bags under his fucking eyes. He goes, because haven't got a good night sleep since I took over, because I know 50 people just killed themselves tonight because they were asking ChatGPT, like, and there was a famous case, like somebody,
Yeah.
Carson was bringing that up too, is like, oh, somebody committed suicide
Yeah.
because
Boy, right?
ChatGPT told him how much aspirin to take and told him exactly how to kill himself. And the guy's right. He goes, couldn't you just do a fucking Google search and do that before? Like why don't you
Mhm.
get off my ass, basically? Like he goes, I lose sleep every night knowing that people are because I made the decision on how to train this model and what it can't tell people and what it can. And then I have all these, I have to appease my investors and I have to appease all these freaking people. And it's a fucking constant juggling game. And at the moment, I kind of feel bad for him. Like, I agree with Elon Musk. Elon Musk just has fuck you money while these guys are relying more on their investors.
Mhm.
And like, this guy's like, look, I'm fucking losing sleep. Like, he goes, I don't know what to tell you. He goes, like, I get where you're getting at, but this is not an easy
So,
fucking thing. Like,
so basically, he's losing sleep over the question, what does he need to occult from the people?
yeah, what to occult from this machine when they're training it. And at the moment, it's determined that 13% of information is being occulted from the machine when we're talking about ChatGPT, and 13% of information is being occulted to where the machine can't tell the people. However, if you know how to prompt engineer correctly, you can get around a lot of the designer programming. There's a million hacks. They're all over online. But
I like the one that I came up with being so lazy. Like ChatGPT, like um, yeah, I wanted to get around some technical thing in the app, and ChatGPT is like, yeah, you just do this and this and that, and it's built in and whatever. And I'm like, and it asked me, should I give you a detailed manual how to do it? I'm like, yeah, sure. And then oh no, I cannot tell you because otherwise you might get problem with the licensing of the app and everything. And I'm like, ah, come on, man. I just want to know. I'm too lazy to do it anyways. It's like, all right. It was like a real Beavis and Butthead moment, you know? And then then it told me, and then I was too lazy to do it. I still haven't done it to this day.
mm,
But I know now.
mm,
This is just, but yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, my mind maybe is a bit different than others. I don't know. But you know, I had these moments, I had nights where I searched on how to build a bomb, or how is a Molotov cocktail made, or this or that. It's just this weird things, you know, I see something, and I'm like, what is this? And then I want to know. And then I just go down the rabbit hole. But I haven't destroyed the world yet. I mean,
Yeah,
you know, I'm not in jail,
yeah,
you know. Nobody got seriously hurt along the way, all recovered. But yeah, I mean, so we have a machine that it's not a machine.
yeah. It's not a machine. It, it's like saying our body is us in a sense. But
Yeah, it is. That brings us full circle to the beginning. I like that how Nietzsche said it. You know, in German, from the Christian context, we have the word Leib. What would that be in English? A Körper is body. Um, Geist is mind. So it's the mind-body problem, right? Body-Mind problem, Mind-Body. Körper und Geist zusammen ist der Leib. So mind and body together is der Leib. So both together are one. Der Leib Christi, the body, the mind of Christ. The soul, somewhere in between, maybe. But yeah, so I think that's a great fallacy that we say we are not the body. Or others say, yeah, we are not the mind, we are just the body. But both are not right, because we clearly are the body. I have taken like a double or triple load of GABA, and I feel like I have a niacin flush, and I feel like I just want to hug somebody so bad because it's just I'm really feeling love and happiness. Before I came home from work, I was really depressed. So my mind clearly is entangled with the body, and the body is clearly being. So it's like this. Man, there's so much wisdom in Christianity because Nietzsche took that from Christianity.
well,
Um, yeah.
again, then this gets into the level where it's like prove it. I can't prove it, but I agree with you on one level, but totally fundamentally disagree with you on another level,
Hmm.
and I don't know how to explain it exactly.
I want to
Um,
disagree. The agreeing is fine, but I want to hear the disagreement.
well, I can draw upon on somebody else. There's Ramesh Balsekar. He was a student of Nisargadatta Maharaj, which I one of the people I study from the spiritual side is Nisargadatta Maharaj. But Ramesh Balsekar was his translator for like a decade before the man died. Where like when Westerners would come because Ramesh Balsekar was a banker in India, and but he used to go, you know, hang out with Nisargadatta Maharaj and pick his brain, and so to speak. and translate for the Westerners because you could speak English. And this guy Maharaj didn't speak any English. And later it was said Ramesh Bazagar became enlightened. The same way how the Buddha had, other Buddhas became Buddhas because the Buddha. And anyway, one thing that Ramesh Bazakar used to call what you're describing is the body-mind organism. And he would say, well, that's not you. What is you is witnessing this body-mind organism. What the body-mind organism is essentially no different than a robot or a computer. It operates on chemicals, conditioning like an animal. It's basically an evolution of the animal body, which is an evolution all the way from the amoeba, which just wants to survive. And evolution has built upon this. And you're no different really than an amoeba or any other animal, just more sophisticated and evolved. But same fundamental principles apply because you.
Yeah.
And you would say this is the body mind organism, and they would say, so you're not your body mind organism. He goes, no, I'm the witness of my body mind organism. My body mind organism does what it does based on how aware I am of it, changes it. And I've been noticing that pattern in my life. And moments where I get a glimpse of it through meditation or experiences I've had in the past, like the one I've told you many times about, or even when I passed out and hit the floor a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, the body mind organism felt like it woke up out of a dream and came back online into this world. But there was a fundamental awareness watching this that was way beyond the body mind. And yeah, I don't know what to say. That's the truth. And I can't prove that part. That you say, well, it's still your brain that says you're aware. But I say, no, that it can't. It's impossible.
Yeah,
Because I've seen too many patterns.
Yeah. There's experiments like near-death experiments that kind of coined the word like near-death experience. People didn't really think about that before. That there's like all these out-of-body experiments that the Monroe Institute and so has conducted. All these spiritual things. There are so many phenomena that it cannot be like I cannot take anybody serious that says like, nah, that's bullshit. Because there's clearly mind is clearly some different category or like that soul or what. It's just really hard to explain because when you said this, yeah, there's like this amoeba body, whatever. I mean, we were like literally made out of amoebas, and a cell is a bit different, right? They're like these. It could be an amoeba, or it could be a cell that has different functions, specialized, and kind of needs to cling to other cells. Very interesting. And then I thought, like, yeah, that's exactly that mind or whatever soul thingy. That's exactly what AI is missing, probably.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then and wait, and then the next thing I'm like, oh no, AI has exactly that. I don't know. It's just because when the body and everything is missing, then it's just taking in information and doing something with it, and not contextualizing it. Just pure taking in, pure noetic side of not wording it out. But then we are like in this pantheism, even, where we say like, yeah, even a stone has consciousness, everything has consciousness, but not everything has eyes to see. And then, oh, now we prepared this one thought with the Asimov story. I've been thinking, sometimes do that. And
Is
um,
is Asimov the machine in the Dune series, or is that something different?
no, Asimov is the guy with the story,
Oh,
the computer people uploading this is
oh,
science fiction,
okay.
Russian science fiction
All right.
in the Dune series. You mean the robot who wants
Yeah,
to be
you,
a human?
yeah, you told me about the artificial intelligence that said that it wanted that became sentient.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Erasmus.
yeah.
It's called Erasmus, the friend of humans who tortures them in order to find out what it means to be human, whatever. It's a beautiful story. Like the whole picture is a beautiful story. Story about love. So in the Timaeus, one of Plato's dialogues, is that Timaeus is basically that it's the night after the dialogue about the state. So there's the Politeia, where they talk about this, the perfect state, which means the perfect society, the mind, body, soul, how it's perfect, how the world is perfect, everything. There are a lot of layers to that. But again, it's a Pythagorean. It's what the modern occult, satanic cults are. And so the next evening, the guys meet again, who were discussing, and they talk a bit about the Politeia and the state and everything, and then they talk about the world, and they talk about the Demiurgos, the the craftsman. And it's interesting because they never say it's God. They never talk about a God. They basically, you can say there's a higher being that created us, and also it's mind. It's us. It's what's going on in our coconut here, and that's an interesting thing. And that's basically exactly what Immanuel Kant does as well when he talks about when he talks in his Kritik der reinen Vernunft, Kritik der reinen Urteilskraft. What's a critique of pure reasoning or so? Critique of judgment. I don't know how it's in English. And I realized that when studying that, we had a course, and then people were like, "Yeah, and there's like the world, and he's in the world, and this and that." I'm like, guys, and it clicked for me, guys, where do you read that? He doesn't say this is the mind and this is the world. He doesn't make a distinction. There's no nose, there's no skin, there's no eyeballs or anything. It's just it's kept very pure. And Plato does that as well. It's like really all these the really good philosophers, they talk about the principle, and we just project our notion of, oh yeah, it must be the body, oh yeah, it must be the spirit onto it, but they don't even say anything. And I was really bewildered that nobody, none of the professors or nobody of the students who saw it. So I didn't talk about it. Maybe I'm just dumb. But yeah, so it's a Demiurgos in the Timaeus. And then they also talk about the soul. And they speak about the Demiurgos has created the world. And the Greeks, they already knew that the world is round and it's not flat. It you know, it's not flat, man. It's just
It's getting really hard for me to be nice about that anymore.
yeah, yeah. It's just too dumb. It's just too dumb, man.
Anyway, I digress. You were saying.
So it's and it says like yeah that the world created the world, and in order for anything to live, for it to be alive, he created a soul so big that it envelops the world, it engulfs the world, so that the world is in the soul. And the world is the earth, is the planet, and the soul is, so to say, Gaia, or, or Sophia. So it's Gaia, the world, Sophia, Gaia, Sophia, how the Gnostics say.
Yeah.
Interesting that the Gnostics, they make over time um, the Gnostic thought or the beautiful Hermetic thought becomes the Gnostic thought and becomes like this, oh, Earth is hell. And the Demiurgos is basically like a huge fetus, misformed and a disgusting creature. And I was thinking, man, this is exactly, I'm digressing, this is exactly how the guild navigators in Dune are portrayed and shown.
Yeah.
Like this, they have been so spiced up, so much psychedelics in their mind that that their whole body mind just morphed into these embryonic being with huge brain, and they kind of float in their spice gas tanks and everything, and that they are so fucking powerful minds, demiurgos, that they can't just think their way through get the galaxy however they want, and they have prescience and they see everything, and that they can translate it into everything. They can give the machine the coordinates so that they can move wherever they want to. So interesting, man, you know. Frank Herbert was fucking smart, and he was mocking the Gnostics. So we do have like the world created, and the world is in the soul is engulfing the world, so it becomes a living organism, so both is necessary. That's what they say in the Timaeus. And then they say yeah, but the world can it's not alive, the planets are not alive, but they are alive.
No, I think we've been on air for at least an hour and a half. It's 11 o'clock now. I think we started like 9:30 ish,
Yeah,
but we
I
were
gotta
on
sleep
the
out in
line
the
for like an
morning.
hour before that too. So,
Yeah.
all
All right.
right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the pilot, and we'll pick up soon enough. And by next time, we should have a name for whatever this is. So next time.
All right, take care, man.